Welcome everyone as we learn the Mishna Yomis for Tuesday, and this is the beginning of the 9th parak of Menachos, Mishna Aleph and Mishna Beis, as we're sponsored by the Fisher family, Lili Nishmas Basi Bas Robert, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, and Neshama should have an Ali also, Lili Nishmas David ben Chaim, L'Refur Shalema for Yoam Moshe ben Chayesar, Yaakov ben Bas Yeleah, for the schus of Avram ben Yam Benish ben Malk Yehudis, by Yod Klugman and family for their Parnos Gzunt and Nachas, L'Refur Shalema for Avigdor Ayyub ben Rivka, Hinda Bas Chayesara, Yitzhak ben Siyam ben Dusha, Moshe Meir ben Estefadel, Rivka bas Shira Leah, Chana bas Shoshabina, Chayesara bas Shoshabina, Meir ben Chayesara. They should have a Refuah Shalema v'Seich Shar Chili Yisrael. So the Mishnah says, Shtei Midoy Shel Yovesh Hoya B'Mikdash. There were two measuring utensils for dry measure in the Mikdash. Isaron, the measure of an Isaron, the Chatzi Isaron, and a half of Isaron. Rameir Aimer, no, there were three. Isaron, v'Chatzi Isaron. Now, Rameir was of the opinion that most Menachos were supposed to be heaped on the measures. So here, that Isaron was only a Isaron when it was heaped. However, the Minchas Chavitin of the Kohen Gadol, which had to be divided, there it wouldn't work if it was heaped, because when you divide it, some stuff might fall, and it wouldn't divide well equally. So there it was an Isaron when it was level. The Chatzi Isaron, and then there was a measuring of a half Isaron for things that need a half of Isaron. Says the Mishnah, according to the Rabbanan, Isaron Mahaya Meshamish, what was the Isaron used for? Shebaya Yemoided L'Kol HaMenachos. With it they measured all the Menachos, which was an Isaron, a tenth. Now, there were, for a bull, they used 3 Isaron. So they didn't have a measuring vessel of 3 Isaron for the bull, or 2 Isaron for the ram. When you did need it for the bull, you measured 3 times from the Isaron. Now, Chatzi Isaron Mehaya Meshamish. What did they use the Chatzi Isaron? According to the Rabbanan, that they used to measure the 2 halves for the Chavite Kohen Gadol. Shaboya Yemoided Chavite Kohen Gadol, Mechza Babayker, half in the morning, or Mechza Bein Rabbayim. Now, what about liquid measure? Sheva Midoy Shalach Haya B'Mikdash. There were 7 liquid measures in the Mikdash. Hin, a Chatzi Ahin, half a hin, Shlishas Ahin, a third of a hin, Revias Ahin, a quarter of a hin, Loig, Chatzi Loig, a half a Loig, and Revias Loig, a quarter of a Loig. Rabbi Eliezer said that there didn't have to be all these vessels. Rabbi Eliezer Bat Tzadok Aimer, there was a hin, and the hin had indentation, teeth. Shnash l'soyah in the hin there were teeth. Ad kan lapar, right? A par had to be the bull had to, we know that a bull was a chatzi ahin, so there was a mark by the half for the bull. And then Adkan wa ayil. An ayil was a shlishis ahin, so there was a mark by a third of the hin. Adkan lekevesh, a keves, a lamb, was a revius ahin, there was a mark by the revius. Reb Shimon Aimer, Reb Shimon says, Lo yasham hin. He says there wasn't a measuring vessel for the hin, because the hin was used only one time for the Shemen HaMishcha, for the anointing oil, and that miraculously was preserved, so they never needed it anymore. What was the hin used for? Elamidi, because it was only used one time in history to make the Shem and the Mishna, and since it wasn't needed anymore, so they didn't have a hin. So then, what was the seventh measuring vessel? There was a measure of a loig and a half that they measured, because in the morning they needed a loig of half of shemen, and in the afternoon they needed a loig and a half of shemen. Loig mechza b'bayker, a loig and a half in the morning, but loig mechza bein ha'arbayim, and a loig mechza in the afternoon. Okay, Rabbi say we want to thank you for a triple header tonight, and wish everybody a good fast and a wonderful, wonderful Zisa year.